Hello and welcome to Friday Art with me, Cate Field. If you joined me last week, you'll know that we made a joyful little journal from found papers. We used scraps and old maps, postcards, directories, cards, whatever we had to hand. If you missed that, don't worry, I will leave a link to that video below so that you can catch up if you'd like to make your own, or you could go there right now if you want to do it first by clicking up here. Today is part 2, and we're going to begin the lovely process of filling our handmade journals. Now, I know that for many people, that first blank page can feel a little intimidating. My cat has decided she's going to join in, even if that paper isn't blank. So in this tutorial, I'll be sharing 5 gentle starting points to help you ease into the process without overthinking. Now, sorry, she's very elderly and she's very noisy. We're going to start with 5 simple prompts: a colour swatch, a memory, a line of poetry or prose, a found image, and something from the natural world. Nothing elaborate, nothing polished, just 5 ways of beginning and seeing where your hands and your imagination take you. There's also a free printable that you can download to accompany this video. It will be in the files tab of the Facebook group, and I'll put the link below as well. So let's, she really is the noisiest cat. Let's open our journals. Guess I know. Take a breath and let's begin. 1 page at a time without the cat. So even when we have a junk journal that has already got stuff on the page, it still can be kind of, oh, what am I going to do? And that's basically what this is going to be all about. So I'm going to be showing you what I'm going to do in some of my junk journals and the one that I made last week. Let's just start with this page because I think it kind of is quite fun. We're going to start with colour. So this is our first prompt. And what I'd like you to do is to just choose 3 or 4 colours. Maybe you could have analogous colours. So let me just grab my colour wheel. Analogous colours are the ones that are next to each other on the colour wheel. And when I'm teaching this to my little ones, I call them the warm colours and the cool colours. And we know that all of these colours are going to work well together. So that is what I'm going to suggest you do for this bit. When we get going, you can just mix them all up if you want and do whatever you like. Obviously, this is your journal. And this is part of a junk journal that I made from the computer book. And I'm just going to block off some of this paper. Now I'm using watercolour paint. The paper is not watercolour paper, so it will go a bit soggy, but all I want to do is to just sort of break up the space. Obviously with watercolour we still see the text underneath, and that's okay. I'm just going to put in just some blocks of orange and yellow and red. Some of this might be covered up a bit later, but you can just allow yourself to try some things out in a journal. That is the whole point. So all I'm doing is putting in this gorgeous orange. These are my Anna Linky vibrant watercolour paints. I will put a link in the description. There is an alternative that you can get in the United States, and I have linked that as well. And I have been told it's one of those kind of low price but good watercolours. But you could also use acrylic, and you could use felt tip pens You know, it doesn't matter, but the idea is that we're putting in some blocks of colour. You can see that the paint doesn't like the masking tape, but that's okay because we're going to be covering that up. We're going to be covering it up. I just want to break up the white. And when we do this, we can just let our minds wander. And what I would like your mind to be wandering to next is what I call a memory prompt. So while you're doing this, I want you to be thinking about a memory. It doesn't have to be kind of dramatic or scary or anything like that. It can just be a lovely feeling type of memory. And I'm just thinking that it would be very vivid. So it might be a memory from your childhood, or it could be a memory from last week. Just think of a memory, and we're going to play with that idea next. So I'm just popping all of those on. I've just done a bit of mark making on there, but I've covered the whole page with that orange. I'm going to do another one in another book because I'm just going to leave that one to dry. That's more of the computer paper. This one is all kind of falling apart at the moment, but that, you know, that's what happens sometimes with a junk journal. This was made up with just magazines that are folded in half. But again, I'm just going to break up the page by just putting on some colour. Keeping to these warm colours at the moment, but you can choose whatever you like. It just gets you going, making a start, because oh my goodness, I've lost count of the times people have said to me, I really want to do something, but I don't know where to start. So you start with colour, like that. So our next prompt is a memory prompt, and this is not about writing your life story. It's about catching hold of a small moment and then just seeing where it goes. So, for example, the other day I went to see my parents who are in their 80s. They've got the most beautiful garden, and music was playing. Music is a huge part of their life. So for me, for this little memory prompt, I'm going to start off by doing a bit of collage. I've got some old sheet music that I got from a second-hand shop, which I might sort of put across like this. I might cut out that a bit more. I've got this one as well. I'm just sort of playing around with this idea, and I know that I want to draw flowers because I just love them, but I thought I would start by just putting in some of this over the top. And again, your memory could be, it could be anything that kind of evokes it. So it could be something from your childhood. It could be something from school, you know, kind of an idea of friendship. And like me, you could do some collage, or you could write a few lines across. We are going to be using words next time. This is still a little bit wet, but that's okay. Again, with your art journal, it's about making it very, very personal to you, and we can use them a bit like an old-fashioned diary, and so it could be very, very private, or they could be something that could be shared. You know, I think this is what I love about art journaling, actually. You know, sometimes it's really nice to share things. Sometimes it's nice to have some private thoughts and moments, and we're just building this up. Now, you could do this memory prompt first before colour if you wanted to. So you could take another page and start with a memory prompt. And your memory prompt could be colour. Yeah, there's lots of crossover bits with art journaling. I'm just going to, yeah, that's still a wet, so that won't stick, but I will pop that on there. So what other things could you do for your memory? It could be your favourite spot when you were little, or a view from the window, or just that sort of thing. Going shopping with your friend. Those sorts of things can be trigger points in a good way for your journal. There we go. Just going to pop that on there. I'm going to slowly build up these pages over this tutorial, so at the end you will see an almost finished page. I thought I'd show you this one as well. So this is the magazines, and I carried on this theme of music and flowers, and then I thought I would do a little doodle here, probably with my fountain pen. Just an idea, and then I'm going to put in some words which will be our next sort of prompt, really. But again, it's about taking yourself on a bit of a journey and allowing yourself to loosen up a little bit. There's someone in the live, I did a live earlier in the week, and one of the lovely people who attended was saying that they do need to kind of practice loosening up a bit, and I know exactly what she meant, because we do. So just sort of little flower doodles, really. On that page like that, and then we will move on to the next prompt. Our third prompt is words. So it could be a quote, it could be a poem, it could be a prayer, it could be a passage from a text that you like. And I was thinking about this, and obviously I've got all my poems, and I love poetry, I love writing poetry. But when I was going down that kind of memory route, something just popped into my head, and I thought, I could use that. So I'm just going to move all of these away and show you what I'm going to do. I've got another page here. I haven't done colour on here. I'm just going straight in with the text, because when I was at church last week, and we sang the hymn To Be a Pilgrim, which comes from John Bunyan's Pilgrim's Progress, that was written in the 17th century. And as a little girl, as a chorister, I loved the last line, the first line of the last verse, which I've kind of printed out here, which was "Hobgoblin nor foul fiend can daunt his spirit." And as a little girl, I never got past the hobgoblins and foul fiends, actually. It was just amazing, this fantastic imagery, and it stuck in my head. And of course, when we sang it in church last week, I just had a little giggle to myself. Now, in some translations, in the Percy Derma translation, he changes the hobgoblins to something much softer, which I think is a bit of a shame. So I'm going to use the text of John Bunyan's hymn as inspiration on this page. So I've just printed them out. I might handwrite some more. This page already had a brief history, and it just made me giggle, really. Kind of a brief history of the hobgoblin nor foul fiend. And I think this is the thing with a journal. It can take you on all sorts of journeys. So this one was quite funny. So I'm going to put my hobgoblin there. Obviously, John Bunyan's Pilgrim's Progress is just an extraordinary piece of writing. He was a very interesting man. So I said it. The other thing that made me laugh last week in church was I go to our local Catholic church, and John Bunyan was definitely not Catholic.
He wasn't even Church of England, really. he was quite radical, and he ended up in prison for his thoughts and his writing and his outspoken personality. It was quite an interesting bloke. I might do a Wednesday wandering on the Pilgrim's Progress. Don't know, might do that. For those of you who don't know, I do a podcast every Wednesday about whatever happens to be popping in my head at the time. So I might just do that because I think that could be fun. So text, whatever text you like. I have got a lot of poetry prompts, very, very short, tiny little poems. You are very welcome to use them. There's free downloads. I will put a link in the description. And I will use some of these with my flowers. Again, sometimes I print them out like this. Other times I will just handwrite them. This is going to be a bit of a mixture. I'm going to put some more collage on here, but those, I might do a hobgoblin. I just love that. I can see where my brain and imagination was when I was a little girl. I thought I'd show you some of the pages in my other journals where I have just written words that are just waiting for something to happen. And then sometimes I will just write through the page. Sometimes they're just waiting. And sometimes there'll be a little story. So with this one, I had this idea of two old friends having a chat over a cup of tea. And I was just observing. I'm a bit of a people watcher. And again, sometimes the words will go around the image. But like I said, sometimes they're just there, just waiting. And I think that's important. It's to just sort of let ourselves enjoy the space. So our next prompt is going to be a found image, and it could be anything. And again, when I say it could be anything, people go, well, what do you mean? So I'm just going to go through it with you, what I'm going to do with a found object. So before mobile phones, if we wanted to go anywhere, we had to use a map. And I was born in London, and everyone just walked around with a London A to Z. And I found this one a bit damaged. There's a few torn pages out in my charity shop locally. And I just thought, oh, it's brilliant, absolutely brilliant. And even those of us who were born and brought up in London, we still carried our A to Zs because London is a big city. So my found image is going to be my map of the River Thames. I've got a bit of the river there and a bit of the river there. And I'm going to use those on the next page of my journal. And you can use maps in so many different ways. Obviously, I could just plonk it on the page like that, which in itself would be quite interesting because we've got this sort of tear down the middle. And then I've got all of these spaces, just where we've got the old docks and things like that. So I think I'm actually going to stick them on like that. And then I'm going to write things in these spaces here. And I might colour in some of the roads. So I will show you what I do with that at the end. But your found image could be a lovely scene from a garden magazine, for example, or a yacht from one of those lovely holiday magazines, or a brochure. So whatever catches your eye, don't think about it too much, just plonk it in your journal. So I wrote a little poem here. I just remembered sitting by the river, and so I just wrote it in there, and I might do a few more other bits on that one. But our final prompt number 5, is the natural world. And what I'd like you to do is to just go outside or look out the window and just be inspired by the natural world. It could be anything. For me, because we have had such hot weather, unusually, in southwest England, in Dorset, the wild plants, the grasses, have all dried, but they are absolutely beautiful. So I thought I would bring some in. Now I've gone back to the journal where I just did some of the orange paint, and I thought I would do a little sketch, a little pencil sketch that I'll probably put ink on, might do with ink. Just really looking at the shape of this gorgeous grass that we can so easily ignore with all the beautiful flowers. But I just really loved the shape, and this is my little bit of cow parsley. I'll do something with that one as well, just holding it there, just drawing, you know, very loosely. It's not a botanical drawing, it's just an idea, just keeping it very, very loose. Or you could take a photograph and you could stick that in your journal, or you could write a poem about what you found and why you like it, or where you found it, anything like that really. It doesn't matter. You know, the whole point is that it's your kind of reflecting your thoughts, and you might want to have a theme for your whole journal. So it might be, you know, summer or something like that. Or it might just be something that you just dip back into, you know, over time. I'm just going to put a bit of ink on here. So I think that would be, I quite like this kind of loose feel. Sometimes I'll do a more kind of detailed drawing, but for this one I think it just needs something quite loose, as if it is just waving about in the wind. I would love to know your thoughts. You know, please leave a comment. If you're not sure what to write, just say what prompt you're going to start with, or tell me what the weather's doing. Always love a weather update. You see, when you just add the paint, add the pen to the background of the watercolour, it works quite well, doesn't it? It's quite nice. If you haven't liked yet, that would be really nice, because apparently when you like a video, it kind of helps other people find it as well. So that's nice, isn't it? Let's do that. There we go. And remember, if you want to join the Facebook group, the link is below. Please answer the questions. They're very silly questions, and you have to agree to the group rules. And then I know that you're not a bot, because you're obviously not, are you? Because that would be silly. So yeah, so I've got these. They're just lovely, aren't they? I might use these to do some printing with as well. Might do that. Perhaps I'll do that next week. So this has got space now. I can do some writing. Yes, it could take me on another journey. So I'm going to sort of play around with some of these that I've done, and then I will come back and show you just where I've got to so far. Well, I did a little bit more on this. I did some more water just to sort of blend in some of the ink. And I put this little, the page is not waiting for perfection, only love. Just some little doodles there. And then over onto this page, I thought I would add some of the motifs that I did during my live session earlier this week. And then I thought I would show you my my hobgoblin and foul fiend. I think I'm going to create a little story about them, because it just made me smile. Oh, I've got lots more pages in this book. Let's just close that one, and then let's just have a look at this one. Again, I like just creating these sorts of collages, and just to see where they might go, because who knows? And that is the joy of art journaling.
And there we are, 5 gentle ways to begin. I hope that one of these prompts has spoken to you and given you the courage to simply start. Remember that your journal doesn't need to be perfect and polished, and it doesn't even need to be finished. It's a space for play, for noticing, for small acts of creativity when you feel that you don't have a lot of time. You can return to these ideas again and again, or simply let them lead you somewhere else entirely, perhaps completely unexpected. If you've enjoyed this video, I'd love to know which prompt you tried first or which one surprised you. Feel free to leave a comment, that would be lovely. Come and share your pages with us in the Facebook group. The link is below. It is the most glorious Facebook group, so friendly. Don't forget the free printable is there in the files tab if you'd like a reminder of today's prompts. If you missed part 1, where I showed you how to make the journal, you'll find that in the link description. Thank you as always for spending this creative time with me. I'll be back next week with more ideas to keep the pages turning gently and joyfully. Until then, take care and keep creating. Bye bye.